So thank you.
That's after Keith.
That's.
And your brother-in-law that passed away.
Knew they were famous.
It'd
Be nice, if there's only three of them.
I know.
3 to 4.
It was dead.
Not after.
You get some more stuff in the things back there. That's a waste of space or not using
Yeah,
it.
it looks kind of empty, doesn't it?
I know, you gotta pop some stuff up there.
We got a couple
Don't try
more.
to put it both
We got
ways.
some more certifications you gotta give us, Steve, so.
I always try and keep it cluttered, you know.
Now we know.
Senior.
I spent a Sunday going through.
I've got 9 o'clock, if everybody could join us, like the allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I ask for a motion on the agenda, there is one change we're gonna remove under the discussion items for a manure management plan for Prairie Gold. We're gonna remove them and it'll be coming up at another time.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Through the minutes, the August 18th, 2025 regular meeting, please.
So much.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Approve employee claims filed with County Auditor for $858.42.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Approve claims filed with the County Auditor for $958,305.40.
So much.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Starting to lose our seasonal employees, so approve the resignation of Caleb Benson, seasonal conservation technician, effective August 8th.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the resignation.
Hold on a second.
Yep.
You know, I said it wouldn't happen until after it was a chair.
So what happened is there was an amended agenda sent out. And so
It was a long one.
the first one did not get deleted off the calendar,
Okay.
so, all right.
That's my fault.
Who
Sorry.
made the motion for the resignation for Caleb?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Next, approve the resignation of Kassidy Federspiel, seasonal naturalist, effective August 15th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Items for discussion, placed on file the following manure management plans. Fremont, the FLF LTD, Fremont Township, section 28. Allen Fuller, site 2, Fremont Township, section 35. And Pork Chop Ranch, Liberty Township, section 15.
So moved.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Alright. Next, meet with the Food Pantry representative.
I think they wanted that later. I don't think they're here.
Table until they.
Yeah, I
Right.
usually, I think that they wanted a later agenda, didn't they? You put them down for like the second week of September. When you sent the email.
I don't recall.
Look here, so
I'll just make a note on it here and we'll
we'll
look
just
into it.
edit one.
Next, discuss HazMat service contract. Rick's back there. You wanna come up?
Yeah.
Please.
That would be outstanding.
I'd be happy to.
I'm gonna get clear over here so that I can see the crowd too. I hate having my back to a crowd.
Well, they can hear you when you have your back.
Exactly. Although my voice carries pretty good. Thank you for putting this on the agenda. It was a little bit short notice. Our hazardous materials contract is a contract that we've entered into agreement with Lynn County Hazardous Materials. We've had that contract since 2014. They have the ability every year to, under that contract, to raise that amount, and they haven't. So we've had them under contract for over 10 years now, close to 11 years. So they're now finally playing catch up and they're going to up that contract. So in the past, we've budgeted usually an extra $500 every year, and it's always remained the same at $5,000 along the way, but they're taking that contract to $6,500 and they need it updated. So the last time that this was signed by the chairman of the board, who was Gary Gissel at the time. That's the only other board member that I don't see here that was former board members today, but with that, and then the auditor was Cindy at the time.
That
So,
was in October of 2013.
so they brought it before us again, so that you're aware too. There is another hazardous materials response group that we did check into under contract, and that's the Waterloo group out of the Waterloo HazMat team. Northeast Iowa Emergency Response Group. They call themselves the NERG, I think is the acronym for it. With that, the buy-in for that was over $30,000, like $33,000, plus the annual contract is around $13,000. Plus, in addition to that, we have to pay for training. And the good part about the Lynn County team, we participate in a long-term recovery, or not long-term recovery, sorry, local emergency planning committee group. I've got enough for everybody there. Going to take one, pass one down. That is our LEPC group that we go to on a monthly basis. And then this is also one of the programs. That group sponsors a grant that pays for our training, and that's what Lynn County goes through. So that information is there for you. What I'm handing out is also a shelter-in-place program that we've done and we sponsor out of our office. Whenever I go do speeches or talks around, we take that information out there, and it's really good information for the public. So that's kind of in a nutshell. What kind of questions do you have? So we'll be taking the contract to $6,500. They did let us know this. So the good part is we were able to do that in the budget. If you look at our budget, that was what we had budgeted for, was $6,500. That's what your letter of intent says that they set out, and that I shared with you. So
It's not like we have to use them a lot, but it's great that they respond pretty quickly when we do need.
they do, and thank you for bringing that up, because we have had to use them even on a consulting type of a basis. They would rather be called and not needed than not be called. And we had that happen. We had a couple of individuals that tried to steal some anhydrous from when it was still the co-op right behind our place. And you talk about the shelter in place, and I had anhydrous ammonia coming into our yard, and I literally had to lock down the house for the kids, but then I had to lock down a kennel full of dogs. So we had 30 dogs in there too. Trying to figure out what we were going to do with that. But between law enforcement and fire and Lynn County HazMat, they got up there and they were able to mitigate it and take care of it. So yeah, when you need them, we need them.
They respond to like gas,
They will if we call them.
bills, that
Yeah.
type of thing, if it's major.
If it's major, anything hazardous materials related. Yep. Well, that's it in a nutshell. So I'm asking for the consideration, I guess, for the chairman and the auditor to sign, and then we can move forward with that.
I would entertain a motion to approve the HazMat service contract,
Authorize the chair to sign.
and authorize the chair to sign.
Make the motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Cool.
You don't need a vote.
All right, thanks.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Rick.
everybody, you're very welcome.
appreciate it.
Next, Brian, discuss the low water crossing on the level B road.
Appropriate.
Why, every time you stand up.
Let's turn that on for you. Appreciate it.
Oh, but then I forget to turn it back on. Good morning. And I'm not sure the gentleman that's got the shouse, did we want to listen? Do we want to let him present first? Do you want me to?
Sure, absolutely.
Sir, do you want to explain your position there?
Yeah, I didn't know this.
Forward.
You're welcome. You're welcome to.
You're welcome to come up here if you'd like,
Okay.
easier to hear it.
Yeah, I put a shelf on 240th Street, 242nd Street, and it was a little water, which I thought was great, no problem. Any remedies or?
Well, yeah, what I've said from the beginning is that decision needs to be made here, and the board gave me the directive of coming up with solutions.
Okay.
And so I did come up with about 3 solutions. And the first one's do nothing. And if we start putting something in here, I've got about 3 other locations where I could have somewhat the same issues. If you look, there's still desires to replace the bridge north of Otterville. It was taken out in the 1960s. And we've got another one that went down over the South Fork of Macokota, south of Lamont, and the people that live by that would like that one replaced. And we've got the one over by Stan Preeb, though, even though Stan says he doesn't want it replaced because they don't want all the trucks from Thomas going by there. And Thomas, the bridge out west of Thomas would be another candidate on a Class B road that they would want replaced. Yes, ma'am.
That's my road. I need a bridge in your subdivision.
Which
There's
road?
only one way in, and that's off the Brandon Diags. You cannot go up north from Cree because the bridge is out there. You can't go west on 280th because the bridge is out there.
And I've also got the bridge close to about south of there too, over Line Creek too. So, and it's been closed in the 15-year category.
Which
Yeah,
one was yours?
so my concerns is if I do one, where's it gonna end?
North.
Now, the directive I was given has come up with some solutions, and so we're in the area, and there's about 1,400 acres coming in there, 1,485, I think is what Alex came up with, and I used the old method and had like 1,460. But one of the options would be to throw 3 small arched pipe in there, but that amounts to about 34,000 in costs that way too. And when I say arched, what I'm talking is a pipe that is 63 inches by 87 inches. Now you say go smaller, but the problem is then you're always fighting the brush and trees blocking up in them. I did call on a couple tank cars and see what a couple railroad tank cars would cost me, and their delivered price that I've got in front of me is about 32,710. So there's no real cheap answers when you start talking bridges.
My original thought was, you know, if you get a couple of culverts and just pour some concrete over it. And that's where I thought, I know it's a county road or still
Yeah.
considered a county road. So there's liability issues, but just something where the water comes up, it goes over it. But my biggest concern is probably in the winter time is just getting across there. So if you had that elevated a little bit.
Yeah, your problem with that is you get all that brush coming down that channel in particular and a bunch of other channels. And they're always plugged up, so you're always out
Or
there.
debris and everything else.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the difference is between this bridge and the bridge up by, and the road up by Fairbank, where the kids have to, you talked about that road, you went and visited it, a couple years ago, 250 maybe. Where the kids have to walk through the mud getting back to their house on the grade level B road.
Oh,
And they simply want the road rocked. And it was the level B, so we won't even pour rock onto a road
Yep.
that's level B.
Yep.
But yeah, we're considering building a bridge. I'm confused.
well, on their policy on Class B roads, first of all, it's not my desire to do anything. My recommended answer would be do nothing. But I've got a request from the general public to do something. That's why we're here. And, going back to that, our policy is clear. If they want rock, they pay for the rock. On our bridges in the Class B policy, and I printed it off, I thought I had it right in front of me until I looked for it. And basically it says appropriate. And what we made years ago, we considered appropriate.
I guess my biggest question was, why, when they took it out, nobody consulted me like, hey, I'm planning on building back there. You know, I prefer to keep it there.
Mr. Chairman.
Claim it, yeah, claim it.
If you wouldn't mind. I would like to speak about this a little bit because I'm past Board of Supervisor. And this came up during my term. And I made probably several trips out there with Brian. We went out there and talked to the previous landowner, Mr. Decker. We talked to the tenants that were farming that ground out there. We went out there and met with them all on site. And the agreement was to come up with, was to go ahead and do the low water crossing. They didn't have no problem. The tenant at the time said that if he had to, he had access to come in another way to the farm property. He wouldn't have to use the crossing there if necessary. So we did it. So wagons, the sloping, and it was designed so that wagons and stuff could go up and down through there, the sloping and stuff. So all I can say is that this was agreed to by the tenants and the landowner at the time that this was done this way. And I think it was probably Mr. Decker, when he sold that property, he should have probably disclosed that information. It was his obligation to disclose that to the buyers. And apparently that never got done.
And I wish we could get a date on that, but I'm almost 100% sure that I had owned it at that point. Because I know Al Francis, the tenant, who was renting from Decker back there, he had mentioned something that they were back there talking. So that would have been probably summer of 80s or summer of 17, I believe. Because I purchased the ground in April of 17.
So at the time, I think when we did this, Mr. Decker did own the property.
You're right, he owned everything on the north side of where I'm at. Gentlemen, I'm trying to think, Mark Quaid. That owned the property that I purchased on the Buffalo Creek there. You guys can't pull a date on when that was done?
I visited with Chris a little bit about it, but there was a lot of stuff going on, just like right now, there's a lot of.
I guess if I didn't own it, I would have never known that the conversation happened. So that's why I know at that point I would have.
The bottom line is it was removed and made into a low water crossing before you built the house back there.
Right. But if I would have been consulted and I would have said, well, this is my plan, let's not do that. And then we could have had that conversation happen.
And I just can't understand why Mr. Decker wouldn't explain that. And then he stood there right in front of me and Brian admitted that he was the owner of the property.
But if you go back, I don't even check height with you, but Decker didn't own that. I bought it from a Quaid and he had owned it for a few years. He does own the ground back there that Al Francis leases.
And it's been a Class B road since probably the 1980s.
I'll just comment that if the county were to have to go into all these Class B roads and make significant improvements such as bridges, that we could afford it. And there's a reason you have Class A and Class B roads, is because they resources for the county and they're not heavily traveled enough that they warrant having those type of improvements. And this creates a significant issue financially for the county of how we do that. Do we invest $30,000 to $50,000 on Class B road and pull that out of our secondary roads budget that could go for rock on our more heavily traveled? So this would be a discussion that we have to have. And look
And I'm
for-
not disputing any of that.
Well, you gotta understand.
Oh, I understand that 100%. 100%. If that would have been that way when I purchased it, I wouldn't be standing here.
I think that,
I guess my question
wasn't
was,
the bridge already gone
No.
when you purchased it?
no, alls I know is the bridge was there and it was pulled out
Yeah.
without me ever being informed that.
So what year? did you
I know
purchase?
Al Francis
When
was
did you
informed,
purchase?
17, April of 17. I'm not complaining about, I wouldn't be doing any of that. My complaint is, I should say complaint, my issue is, that was taken out, and if somebody just would have said, hey, I would say, well, I'd like to have that there.
Yeah.
I get it, That's my only,
See, we have similar circumstances throughout the county where we've got a level B road. And there used to be one house on it, and all of a sudden there's 7 or 8 on it now. And they're all complaining that the road's not up to their standards. And that road was there. And they knew it was a level B, but they still built homes out there. Now they're coming back to the county and saying, what's the solution to this? And
it's like the person who builds out in the country and complains about the cows or the manure.
or the dust or whatever.
Yeah.
Just,
And there's nothing I can do on my own, right? It's all I gotta, if anything's done,
If you wanted to bear the costs of it, we would authorize,
but
but
I'm looking at it much cheaper.
you,
Yeah.
We are too.
yeah, and I'm not sure if Clayton was around then yet or even Don, but we went to, Washington County years ago, probably about 2001. And they were doing that. They were putting the small pipes in, then concreting over it. And they were putting about 50,000 into a crossing. And at that time, I was building the railroad flat car bridges for about that same cost.
yeah, since we're discussing bridges and all these roads, then we have some other bridges that probably need some railroad flat car bridges that could be widened. Throughout the county. My other part, my thought on this. For saying this.
So,
But we have these level B roads and, it might not always be the best farmland that the level B roads are on. So is that a potential for future housing or something like that if the roads were improved? Like, what could be the economic impact if we did improve those roads and there was housing districts or something like that? I mean, and I don't know, like, I would have to look at a map to figure out what the worst CSR is and if it's actually lying on some of those roads. But like the one up by Fairbank, up north of Jessup, that road definitely, I mean, that was sand. They're dealing with sand on that road, so that's a perfect place for housing. And there are now 4 houses built on that road, which gives us more, because house in the country provides more property tax value than what 55 CSR does. So are we potentially losing money by doing what we're doing? Throwing thoughts out.
I would like to mention the fact that if a housing development does happen out there, the county ordinance does state that the developer has to bring the roads up to standard and it has to be paid. So that would be the expense of the developer.
Which standard is it though? Is it the level B or is it back up to highway standard?
that's, if there's a subdivision going on back in these roads, the way the current ordinance is, they have to bring it up and pave it.
Thank you.
Right, but they're not gonna bring up a whole gravel road out to a level B road to pave it. I mean, I'm gonna leave that road gravel and I'm gonna just pay my level B road at that point in time.
Yeah, you can take a level B and bring it up to paving standards for a very similar cost to bring, other than in both cases, we need right of way. similar costs. The grading's not gonna be a whole lot difference in cost, whether it's a level B or a class A road. And then bring it up to condition of pavement.
Believe it, there are conditions, and if they approach us, then
At the same point in time, if we're after that, then, let's go one step farther, and let's chip seal 280th Street.
The chip seal isn't gonna last until we get the basis stabilized and.
There's always a it's chip. I'm dreaming here, Brian, don't.
Yes. Here's the issue with that, Don. We gotta keep dreaming, I agree. Hey, I have no problems with the county coming in and stabilizing the bases and let the people take care of the surface costs.
Right.
And I don't care if I've got to come in with Portland cement and stabilize it still. I think that's a fair compromise on that kind of a subject. Right now, if somebody was to ask me what's working the best, I have a hard time arguing with what we did on the north end of Frost Avenue for that quarter mile. And that was just a 10-ounce non-woven geotextile, because that really, you go out there today and it's a dramatically different than it was in 2019. And it doesn't wash more as fast even. And that's why we keep playing around with base stabilizers, which we have another 800 feet going down tomorrow.
Cool.
Donated.
That's interesting. So bringing it back around to this bridge, I've been circling back.
You're fine.
So back to that base stabilization, is there anything that you can do as a county to stabilize that area? And then provide some kind of a support for something to be built that helps in the wintertime?
My biggest concern ultimately is like medically. I mean, if you couldn't get, there's no way an ambulance could get back there. In that situation where it's mid-January and it's frozen over and broken off and you've got a 18-inch lip there to get up over.
Right, and to where we won't be able to get angles.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's ankle deep water. I have no problems. I like it, you know. The neighbor kids are playing in the creek. It's kind of neat, but you know.
Is there a way to, is there some kind of compromise here between us and?
Well, you brought up the comment about us authorizing you to do something in there, and I'm thinking we could work with you on that. You can get a lot of money into it when you start talking $50,000.
My question is, if I do it the way I would do it economically, is that gonna be up to your standards?
As long as you're not holding the water back on the neighbors is
Yeah.
gonna be the biggest concern.
Yeah.
And that's where we get other people involved. And then who's gonna continue the maintenance is gonna be the issue too. So in other words, if you've got the 18 to 36-inch culverts and we're getting the logs and the trees into them, who's gonna be the one cleaning them out?
It'd be, and there really isn't much coming down that way. It's all tile there. So there's very little. I mean, I'm not saying there's never anything, but there, you know, typically there isn't a ton. And my biggest concern is in the winter, because if you had something that would just, you know, be above that, the water's, you know, because in the winter it isn't going to be more. Typically, you know, if it's not froze, it's going to be probably a foot deep, you know. So.
The only thing I'd say is if we keep it where we don't have to classify it as a bridge, because if we classify it as a bridge, even on the county road system, then we have to inspect it and
Yeah.
I've got some used slabs out there and I visited with Alex on putting them in. Then I'd have to have a substructure too, and I get 50,000 in a substructure real fast.
Yeah, I'm thinking 10 to 15,000. Yeah, go a long way. I mean, this is
So, and what are you thinking?
just a couple of simple culverts and pour some clean rock and concrete over it. And, you know, there's a ball field in Dubuque that has done that with an issue like that. And I used to know the owner and it worked. You would have debris.
Yeah.
It kind of runs behind like Lowe's and Walmart down there, the ball fields, the Dubuque Sports Complex.
Yeah, if that's a solution that's acceptable to you, I'm fine with that as long as the board is. And we would
I mean,
sit down
is there
together.
any cost share at all involved? I guess it'd be my other question. If
There
we
would
could-
probably have to be, in my opinion, but
I mean, it goes back to John, you know, we're saying, hey, he's willing to take care of the costs right now. And if it's a matter of bringing a backhoe out there and help shape things, that's fairly minimal.
Yeah, that would have a skid steer out there and, you know, people that know how to do a few of those things.
I'd like to hear you guys talk a little more and come up with a viable solution
Yeah.
that you would suggest and then bring it back to us.
Yeah, I'm just trying to avoid becoming a bridge, because I'll have to do inspections on it every couple of years.
So if it's a culvert, if it's a couple culvert system with some fresh rock and concrete over it, then it's not a bridge.
Still has that low line, low water element to it, low
Yeah.
water crossing.
Mhm.
And if we can help him out with equipment and that kind of stuff, and maybe, I'm not sure what we could get, our prices for culverts are less expensive than what on the secondary market, if we could help out with that.
I have no
Or do you
problem
have
with
any things, you know, on the, you know, dead scratch bin that, you know,
Right.
I mean, it doesn't need to be fancy. I mean,
Well, we've
honestly.
got some concrete out there, but they get hard to set too.
I would assume that the larger diameter culverts don't clog up quite as much as small.
Yeah, but if he's saying, hey, they'll take care of those issues, and I'm not running back in there
Yeah,
every month or so.
honestly, once it's in, I wouldn't, there should be, I'll handle the rest.
Well, why don't we agree that we let Brian and the property owner
Yeah.
work out some negotiations on how to do this, and then come back to us
Do we,
for final approval.
do they need to come back to us? If these two are, if these two are willing to work it out, does it need to be come back in front of the board? Like, we don't really need to approve something that the homeowner or the landowner is gonna work out with our county engineer. That's,
I would say give approval for, Brian and Mr. Schall to work together on it, and then Brian can just always communicate with you guys.
Yeah, and if we're not comfortable, if we can't come to agreement, we'll
Yeah.
come back.
Yes.
all right. Like Chris said, in a motion.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Thank you. Hopefully we can help with something.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch, Brian.
Okay, next discussion approval for the 9/11 ceremony. I'll let our team of veterans come on up and, or you can just stand up if you want to explain what we want to do here.
It was excellent. It's such a nice venue for what we do. It takes about an hour and it's worked out great. And we appreciate you guys looking into it because that was the best one we've ever had. And I
That
think
was
it'll
very good.
continue to be that way. But the thing is, I need to get things lined up pretty soon because the clock keeps ticking faster. The longer you get, the faster it goes. So, but if we could make a decision, I'm sure appreciate it. It's a great venue. And we'll get the people lined up to do similar what we did last year. And it'll be at 9 a.m. and last 45 minutes to an hour.
Well, that is a
Thank you.
public space and I couldn't think of a better way to utilize it.
Right.
I just need a motion for approval for the 9/11 ceremony. Courthouse grounds at the Veterans Memorial.
Make the motion.
I will second it, but I would like to have further discussion.
Go ahead.
All right, so my thoughts on this is you have graciously installed the statue, beautified the courthouse lawns. I really don't think you need to come back every year and ask for permission to use what you've installed. So can we just make this a blanket authorization going forward? This way, you know, you can start planning it as far in advance as what you want to.
I would
Yep.
probably leave us some out in case we needed to back out. I can't imagine
It's-
there'd ever be a reason, but you know,
Well, there's other organizations that, been on a regular basis, been having events on the courthouse lawn, and they just came in once and received approval from the board, so.
And we
I don't
get
foresee,
them.
yep,
yeah.
Just
so I don't foresee it a problem going forward
And
to
legally,
just allow them. to
generally,
Continue to plan or have it on the courthouse lawn.
as long as it doesn't conflict with anything that would be going on at the court. Kind of got into that with the Child Abuse Council and things like that. If there's a court involved,
then we have to take our flags.
we had Sad to it. Yeah.
We can always do a plan B if you had something like that. We can do it somewhere else, but this is just a perfect venue.
Right,
Right.
and it's a great way to showcase what we have on here.
And legally, I don't believe we can stop you as long as you're not interfering with courthouse, with patrons coming and going from in and out, and that front door is never used. So I don't, legally, we can't stop. We couldn't stop it anyway.
But we gotta let you know. Yeah, that we're gonna use it.
We appreciate that.
As a community, we also work well.
Yeah.
It's a courtesy coming up to ask you people, be it on.
I appreciate that.
I would just like to give blanket approval, so you don't have to come and say Mother May I every time.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Me and my wife are down there almost every weekend working on it. She loves doing flowers, so we keep it pretty good.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Need
So
a,
do you want to modify our motion?
for sure, definitely.
Yep.
Let's allow them to continue to do it unless we see a reason to stop it, which, as we said, we don't hear for it. So,
Thank you. Communication.
So he modified his first, I will go along with his modification.
Is that a second?
That's the second.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
Aye, thank you. Very good. Discussion on the Labor Day board meeting change, since, that's on Monday. Do we have anything pressing that has to be?
As of right now, I have a couple manure management plans.
Can we just push them up to the next week?
not gonna affect them.
No, will not affect them, and two, that's your decision, that one.
No.
So, I mean, as long as we don't have expenditures or anything we have to approve, then
The only thing, there may be some employee claims,
they can wait.
which I'm sure, we all have expenditures from when we were just in ISAC. There's not any, claims, any payable claims.
Well, I would make a motion that we do not have a meeting in the first week of September. Just give us all a break from each other.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, before we go to public comments, let's go to board and commission reports by the supervisor. Keith, you want to go ahead and start off?
Sure. We all three got an email from Joe Griffin, CEO of Summit Carbon Solutions. They talked about a new introduction email and how they were rebranding. I don't see any action that we need to take on that. Do you have something?
This is our board and commissions that we're assigned to. We're not assigned to Summit Carbon.
Economic development talked about a beginning farmer tax credit. So
Which economic development?
the one that I sit on, not the one that you sit on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pathways meeting tonight. It's pretty generic. What their expenditures are, things like that. We brought on a few additional board members, so that's really nice. Regional Housing Authority, we're meeting today. We're establishing their bylaws and that type of matters. So that's great to see that start up. Iowa Workforce Development, we kind of tabled that conversation the other week because there was a talk about merging. And so the two regions did merge, South Central and Mississippi Valley. They're working towards that. And so folks were asking if we wanted to be a part of some merger somewhere, and that all kind of fell apart. So we didn't go any further with that. And that's why we dropped it from our agenda item. Incumbent worker is a process to bring potentially Social Security supplemented workers back into the workforce, and encourage folks to look into that if they haven't already.
What commission did that come up on? I mean,
Workforce development.
all right, because I just don't want everything that we we will be here all day long. If we mentioned everything that comes across right now, so I just want to try to keep it with what we're sitting on currently and what we have sat on getting here. If
Yeah.
we could.
And if there's an advantage to our taxpayers, I think they probably ought to know about this stuff.
Well, I don't want to be here till noon because I have meetings at noon.
Okay. Supervisors Education Committee. I'm now on the ISAC Education Committee for supervisors. So we talked about the things that are coming up. One of the items they were looking at specifically to ask Glenn Smith. He's been nominated for Undersecretary of Rural Development to speak at the future ISAC meetings, and then some other things came up talking about affordable housing, which directly affects our community, county efficiency, disaster readiness, ethics, public meetings, open records, technology trends, and mineral rights, and Iowa Rural Summit. So if you have more questions about that stuff hitting on the education committee, let me know, please. That's all I have.
Don, you wanna go?
Yeah, go ahead.
We get down late Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday we had a pretty full day. We went to all the supervisor affiliate meetings and talked about a lot of the current issues that are going on within the state. Thursday, we had several meetings that were fine, where we had time with not only the assessors and auditors, but also human resources, and had some very informative meetings there. And it's good when we get to meet with the other affiliates to discuss things and share information. And I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go through all the comments on the things. I've got a whole list of notes, but and as far as other committees, I haven't had anything within the last week and a half other than going to ISAC. Go on.
Okay. So with ISAC, we did sit in on a couple different things. They had one about the budget coming up. There's 3 different proposals, you know, and once again, the proposals are, for budgetary constraints or for property tax referendums. Unfortunately, the county gets all of its financing from property taxes. We do have gas tax, but that goes to secondary roads. So, I mean, obviously this is gonna affect our budget and what we can, potentially what services we'll be able to supply for our residents. So, but there's nothing, we don't know what's gonna happen. Legislation is up in the air at this point in time, and so I'm not sure what our Congress people are gonna come forward with in January. The one thing is, they're gonna try to take all of our property values up to 100%, which will reduce the levy rates. And then cap it at a certain level of growth. Interesting. They also mentioned battery energy storage systems. That are gonna be coming into different counties and stuff, so we probably need to make sure we have ordinances in place for that. I did go to and listen to a Dr. Bill Withers and about personalities, and our auditor was with me, and it was a really good session. I think she took as many notes as I did. And it's kind of scary what our younger people are coming into as far as the work world goes, and the different emotionally challenging aspects of it. That was a really good session.
I think one of the most concerning things that came out of the conference was the discussion on property taxes, where the governor's directive, along with a lot of legislators, is to try and eliminate property tax within the state of Iowa, which I'm sure we'd all be thrilled with. But what's the alternative to funding county and city government, schools, that type of thing? It's challenging enough to get our share of financing from them as it is. I can only imagine if we have no other funding source. So we'll have to keep a close eye on what's going on with the legislator, with our legislators, and make our voices known, because it raises a lot of questions.
Also had an executive board meeting with the Emergency Management Agency on the 18th, looking through some applications. So more to come on that. that'll be coming up in front of the board, I'm sure in the next month.
Okay. With that, I will go to public comments. Yes, sir.
Up to you, Brandon. Couple questions. We had some previous issues. Haven't heard anything about them. So what's the IPIB situation? And how is the team building education or whatever we're gonna call it, training been going?
We're gonna call that HIPAA.
We call that HIPAA?
Well, I mean, technically it is. I can't ask
Okay.
my other board members who have gone to it because that would be HIPAA compliance. I know I've gone to my first two sessions. I have one scheduled for today, but it's conflicting with an interview, so I will be rescheduling.
Yeah, I went to all three of them consecutively. I think that the day after that meeting, that first meeting, so that was the first, and then went to all three of them, the Tuesday, and Wednesday, and the summer. Yeah, had some great discussions.
So then,
Can you share any information with Mr. Pugh on, your IPIB, circumstances?
and also is the 2080 agreement, the voting on that, is that part of this too, that involved the city, or
I would say that they're still continuing.
we don't have any idea yet what's going on?
But you're welcome to reach out to IPIB, but also open records.
As far as the 28E agreement, we are going to have another landfill meeting to revote on our landfill approval for the City of Independence on the use of the transfer station. And that will be coming up hopefully this week, but I've got to get with Lisa Kramer after this meeting to get it on their agenda because they have an economic development meeting. We try to piggyback with them since everybody that's in attendance at that is also part of our 28 landfill.
You know, does that involve every mayor in the county?
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like another IPIB being accepted, I guess if you want to go on their website, you can. 25 FC 0092, chapter 21, Buchanan County Solid Waste Commissioner was mentioned. Information gathering and IR process, so that potentially this would be like all of the mayors in Buchanan County. And I don't know if this is a brand new one. I know the previous one, I think was FC 0070-2. And that was on June 10th. This one would have been on July 9th.
One other question I have, financial, is, are we still involved with the lawyers, paralegals, and so we probably don't have any idea how much it costs.
Yes, we are still involved with them. Last I heard, we're what, $1,600?
I think there was a bill in here that was. I'm pretty sure, excuse me, we just paid one and it was 1,600 and something.
Are they billing by the month, or how do they bill as far as costs?
That's the first one we have received.
Sorry.
Wasn't sure.
Generally, they bill by billable hours and we could probably send a monthly statement.
$1,621 was an invoice that the board approved this morning.
John, usually when you're billing, you'll bill monthly, but you have to have a threshold. So if the dollar amount of the work and services you provide is below a certain number, they'll hold the bill for another month and then bill it for the 2 months together. Not all our do that, but most do.
It's
Also, John, the Buchanan County Economic Development meeting is tomorrow night.
Right.
So I don't know whether you're gonna try and have the landfill commission meeting after that meeting or whether you have something at another
I
time.
think we're gonna try and do it before. I talked to Lisa this morning. I told her I'd call her after this meeting and get her all set up. Gerald and I talked last week about it, but, I was in Point all week, so I didn't really proceed much further.
John, do you know what time we end tomorrow in terms of the interviews? 3:30?
They're in the morning. No, so today would be 3:30-ish or 4, because it's noon, 1 and 2. So by 3, we're done today. And then tomorrow, I think it's 9, 10 and 11.
Oh,
We've done at noon.
okay, so thanks. I couldn't remember what the schedule for tomorrow was.
We're getting you out of bed early again, Brad.
More public comment, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna try and bring you up to date on a few things. Iowa State is in today doing testing on 150th Street on the base stabilization efforts there.
Okay.
And so they'll be out there most of the morning and probably into the afternoon. I've got a Greg Webb from Best Tech coming in this afternoon, coming in from Carolina, and I don't remember if it's north or south. But they are donating another 800 foot of base stabilization materials. It's another polymer, and we'll see how it compares with the rest. And then this afternoon, I've got Orion Roth coming in from Kansas City, and that they're setting rail cars tomorrow morning, about 7:30 in the morning. We're setting the rail cars on about 100, just north of 150th Street on Taylor Avenue. And then the paving's moving forward to, they should get past Nolan Avenue between Nolan and Michaels today if things work out. It was interesting this morning, they couldn't get their cutoffs off started. So that was holding them up for about a half an hour. So you got over 40 people standing there looking at a chainsaw or a saw that won't start.
The,
That's a bad.
150th Street testing, was that where we put the sensors and everything in?
That one doesn't have so many sensors in. That one's more the chemical stabilizations, and the sensors are on the fabrics. But what they'll do is they'll falling weight deflectometer, and they'll actually drive a steel rod down into the ground and see how hard the soils are and how strong the soils are. And again, it goes back to the comments. We've got to come up with something that works and lasts before we try and put a surface on any of this stuff. And even at that, if I can get by reducing my rock usage into the fabrics that we did on that north quarter mile from 190th Street south a quarter mile, that's been the most impressive of all the stuff we've dealt with.
When we're talking base stabilization, though, I guess I get a little confused here because I know like the composite of the earth is different in some parts of Buchanan County as it is in other roads in other parts of county.
Yes.
So what we have for base stabilization over here may not work over here. So
True statements. And when they ran the shear roller around the county and virtually measured every mile of rock road in Buchanan County, what they found is the north half is much weaker than the south half. But on the south half, we have poor quality rock we're putting down. The north half gets a rock with dolomitic limestone is what we really got up the north half was the dolomites. And we don't have that in the southern part. So it doesn't always make sense with what's going on. It's the soils underneath. And if you look at the frost boil issues, we have worse frost boils on the north part of the county than we do the south. That goes back to the soils that they've been taking samples of are coming at much higher silts than what they see in other counties, which is make good for corn ground, but doesn't make good for building a road on. Less clay and more silt.
What's the plan on running that reflectometer? Is that annual? Is that every 5 years?
They have about a 3-year contract that they're running these tests.
Sure.
And the real measurements getting done by my guys out in the field and what they think's working best for them.
Yeah, sure.
But I think they look more at a short term,
Yeah, I was
than the long term.
wondering about repeatability and, if they can see different variables.
If you're to ask my guys out here, they really like the mag chlorides and the calcium chlorides. But the issue you get into there is those we know they leach. So how many years do they last? On the fabrics is the fabric took a lot of work putting it in, but it wasn't dramatically expensive, cheaper than most of these other stabilizations. And how long is it supposed to last? They say 500 years.
There's no UV radiation on it, so. it's
No,
not-
because there's the issue. If it sees sunlight, it only lasts about 6 years. And what we did with some of the research, they wanted it just down 6 inches. But I know some of that from 2019 was starting to work its way up to the top, so got the blade operator to get some rock on it.
I think we kind of talked over everybody's head now, so.
Sorry.
We're really fortunate that Brian and his team have collaborated so well with both Iowa State and these independent vendors that have been very, very helpful donating material and that type of thing to do these research projects. And Buchanan County is famous for accepting offers to do these research projects that they do. And it helps them study it, but it also benefits us amazing, so.
We didn't realize when we're dealing with Midwest Industrial Materials last year, their knowledge level was nowhere near what we thought it would be. They're learning every day. And the guys coming in from South Carolina or Carolina today, they didn't know what a frost boil was.
I've never seen it before, so they didn't know.
All right, I'm gonna cut Brian off because he'll talk for 2 days.
We haven't gotten to bridges yet.
Anyone else in public comment? Clayton?
Clayton North, previous county supervisor, 2675 Nolan Avenue, Independence, Iowa. I'd like to piggyback a little bit on one of Brian's projects going on, the overlay of the Kowalski diagonal. I always look at when we're doing a project like this, it's no pain, no gain. There was naturally complaints on this and stuff, and I heard a complaint yesterday about the inconvenience and stuff like that. So I told him, I said, the county, we did have an option on this whole thing. We could have did nothing, but we are making that road a super good road now by taking care of all the breakups in there. We've replaced a narrow, unsafe bridge, the bottom of the hill where trucks turning in and out. We took a tight curve out where it was a dangerous curve on that road, so we did a lot of things. So I just said, we had the option. We could have did nothing, but when it's all said and done, we're gonna have a super nice, safe road, especially with the safety shoulders and everything. So just bear with us. It'll get done. And we're gonna have a nice road that's all complete. Thing was brought up about, we got things going on with waste management now and everything. I would just like to hope that the recycling thing stays opened up there so people have an option to take their cardboard, their cans, their bottles and stuff. I utilize it and I know a lot of other people do. So I hope that that utilization and that recycling ability stays there for the residents of the county. So I'd hate to see that go bye-bye. Another thing, I'll speed along here in my 3 minutes. Wednesday, I'm gonna be going picking up the Navy military statue that you approved for us to set out there. I'm going to Minnesota to pick that up, and I'm hoping by late Wednesday, if I get back soon enough with it, or Thursday morning, Mark's is gonna come help offload it and set it out there. So again, thank you for allowing that to happen. And I wanna, Keith Mr. Wheelan brought something to my attention about the Iowa Cancer Consortium is going to be meeting September 11th at the library. I've signed up to attend that, and Keith notified me on it because he knows I have a passion about health and safety of our residents in this county. So I think it's going to be a great presentation taking place at the library, and there's an option you can, I don't know if there's a limit to how many people can attend. I signed up in person. But there is, you can get online and virtually attend and stuff. So Keith, if anybody, I don't have the information on that. So if anybody would be interested in that, I'm sure Keith would be all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can pass that information on to if you reach out to how to get signed up so you can either get on virtually and attend that. And they're going to be just discussing about the cancer in Buchanan County, the cancer education and community engagement. So everybody knows probably here that State of Iowa is the second highest cancer rate in the nation, below Kentucky. Kentucky's is going down, Iowa's going up. So at some point, we may become number one. It was interesting, I went to a town hall meeting with legislatures and our state senator Zumbat mentioned that there was a study that was done down by University of Iowa on this. And I want to make everybody aware when studies are done, sometimes you have to find out who funded the study. That to me takes a play on maybe an outcome of the study. So anyway, their study said that the high cancer rate basically in Iowa is because of our obesity and our alcoholism. And I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with that. I think there's more issues going on there. I want to bring up something that happened to my grandson just recently with some aerial spraying. He lives out between Quasqueton and Troy Mills in Buchanan County. He heard an aerial spray happening next to his property out there, the acreage that he lives on. They got a wonderful garden out there and they got some livestock out there, chickens. He had the family stay in the house, so he went out to put the chickens away. He knew the aerial spray, and before he got away from it and got back in, he got sprayed on by an aerial sprayer over his acreage. He got a hold of Idols, and Idols now has got some of his clothing that he had on. They're doing lab tests on it. So, and I heard that the aerial spraying, sometimes the guidance system is not working very well for them. And I know for a fact that I got here a couple of years ago, I was going to Winthrop, up the paved road north of Quasqueton, and aerial never sprayed off, and my vehicle got sprayed with the plane going over. I had to turn the windshield washers on and wipers to get stuff off of my windshield. I got sprayed that bad. And of course, then the fumes came into my cab and stuff like that. So I'm really concerned about some of this stuff that's going on. One other thing I'd like to say is that I don't know if it's been looked in by the board and stuff. I know some people probably sitting in the back because of soft voices and stuff. It's hard to hear, so I don't know if there's any way it's been looked at. Maybe a speaker system could be put in here. So maybe make sure that everybody is being, because I know some people are bashful. They don't want to speak up and say, hey, I can't hear you, and then they just wonder what's being said. So I just wonder if that's ever been looked into, and I think it'd be great. So everybody that's here can hear what's being said. So that's all. Thank you very much for what you all do, and it was a hard job, but stick with it.
Thanks, Clay.
I can send something to Jason and see what we can do.
John, you did a lot of work on getting that recycling back up. Do you want to put in a plug for that?
Yeah. We went round and round for about a week and a half or 10 days when Independence pulled out of the using the transfer station. Waste Management just kind of took it as green light to shut down the recycling. I said, and I had conversations back and forth with them for, I say, over a week, but that's a separate operation. It has nothing to do with the city. The county put that recycling in place up there for residents of the county that have no curbside recycling. And we pay approximately $2,600 a month to maintain that for the residents of Buchanan County. So they did agree to open that back up, and it's up and functioning. And I think they might have reduced the number of dumpsters up there down to 6 or 4, but it's still functioning and will be until further notice. So put people's mind at rest.
Just a reminder too, there's an open house going on the paving project this upcoming Thursday. If you're planning on attending, please get registered because they want to have an idea how many people are going to be there. Make sure you have chairs and everything for it. And it's got it's got a lot of technologies in it that aren't real common. I hate to call them new technologies because the fabric's we've been using for a while.
Anyone else out there? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this Lee Frank, I have a farm up in 1045 Quinn Avenue.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if the supervisors are gonna send the pipeline a bill for the sheriff coming up. The 2 carloads of sheriff come up, someone called the pipeline, said there was a leak up there, which they come up, there was no leak. But every time they get called, the sheriff's department comes up. And they seem to represent the pipeline. They don't represent me. They don't protect me. So I feel they should be, a bill should be sent to them.
Which pipeline is this?
This is,
Yes.
this is the Alliance and Dome that Plenum. It used to be a Dome pipeline. And then it was
Penta, I believe.
Plenum.
Okay, so I just trying to get,
Campino?
Yeah, I agree. I feel they should be charged for, because every time that there's a call to them at the sheriff comes up, help. That Friday, there was 2 carloads of them. That gets expensive. My taxes is paying the sheriff's bill, but they don't represent me. So I feel the bill should be sent to them. This happens every time.
Yes, I'm not aware.
In the past, we've had some issues. Mr. Frank has some issues with them coming on the property. They have an easement through Mr. Frank's property. In years past, I know I've dealt with it several years ago when I was a deputy and things like that. And there's sometimes Mr. Frank wants them on there, so there's sometimes they don't. There's been some heated conversations between the 2 parties. Our recommendations were Mr. Frank had a problem, or if they had a problem, having somebody there to referee the situation. So everything that needed to be done got done, and
I did call.
I don't know who called this time. I'd have to check the logs, but
And this is a natural gas pipeline, is that what this is?
Hazardous liquids, this one.
Yeah,
I think the other one.
natural gas.
no,
The other one is natural gas next to it, about a half mile.
yeah, is there 2 gas lines that go through yours property?
Yes.
Guess the short answer is we're probably not getting any compensation for that at all.
No, it's usually property disputes and things like that are pretty common. We started billing every time somebody called about a property dispute, we'd be putting out a lot of bills to the public, and to other people. It's just kind of a courtesy thing, just to make sure that both parties can get along and try to reasonably manage.
Two carloads.
There was 2 deputies, 2 vehicles.
That's 20 miles away.
1 deputy per vehicle.
Yeah, not a carload of deputies, just 1 deputy per vehicle.
The deputy's expensive, if that carload you're driving is expensive.
Yeah. Right there.
But I feel that sheriff hasn't represented me because like the sheriff deputy is the one that cut the fence. He's the one that took the wire clippers, cut the wires. So that's not representing me when I see that going on. And I was told that I would get paid. I never got paid by the thing. I was told that by the sheriff. It was Wolf Graham. Wolf Graham told me that they do the least damage that they could, but after the 3-inch rain is when they come onto my ground. And they didn't even try. It's like the sheriff's representing the pipeline, not representing me. And I don't call them up anymore. I have had them out there because you're supposed to put one call in, it's state law, put one call in, and that's when they come out. That's the only time that I'll deal with them people. We did have a one call this spring, but didn't seem to think it was important enough to come out. But yet, you'll come out every time. I think it's still harassment.
Well, we're not, I promise you, Lee, that we're not trying to harass you. We're just trying to keep the peace. I promise you on that deal. We're not taking sides on anybody's, but if there is a problem out there, and if
There's a problem out there, but nobody's admitting to it.
well, that's a problem as far as, you know, the pipeline, but making sure that there's not a leak or something like that. Just giving them permission to get out there and to inspect to make sure that if there is a leak, they can take care of the problem so it doesn't become a greater problem for you, your property, and
So let's suppose, Buzz, that there was a report, there's a leak out there. Okay. Suppose that there was 5 gallons of gas dumped on that pipeline. Now, let's just suppose what you think they picked that leak up. You suppose they picked that gas up?
I can't speak for them.
Mr. Frank, I think I'm gonna have to cut you off and have you make arrangements to meet with the sheriff and discuss this further, because there's nothing that the board is gonna be able to do about this.
Bill, that get their attention.
Well, we won't send the pipeline company a bill. All they're gonna do is turn around, pay that bill and turn around and charge everybody else for their product.
We can talk about this.
But we can talk about it.
I would ask that you, have this in a one-on-one conversation. Next, Mayor.
Brad Blackner, Mayor of Independence. We've got an agenda item tonight for the Roseburg First Edition preliminary plat. Normally when something's a county in the county, but it's within 2 miles of the city limits, we look at it for our approval of it. Is there anything about this that I haven't heard it come up previously? Is there something that the county supervisors are doing about this, or is there something we should know for our meeting tonight?
Is that the,
By the diagonal,
is that the one that they're wanting to annex in, or is that a different one?
that's a different one.
Is this the one that,
It's a residential development, maybe 5 or 6 houses, and it's right by the Kowalski diagonal.
right there at the corner
It
on
was the Rathbun.
Rathman?
Oh, 220.
We did, discuss and approve that, but,
I don't think there's nothing.
I don't think we've been approached about a subdivision development that the city does.
It would
If
be
it's
cities.
within 2 miles of the
Right.
city limits, we have to approve that. And I have not seen that come across. I know we approved the development. But,
I'm looking.
Ours is this is just a preliminary plat for us
Sure.
tonight. We're not doing a development agreement or anything else. I don't think we look at the development agreement. We just look at the plat itself. But I just want to make sure that there's nothing that we're not aware of that I can talk to the council about tonight.
It seemed like it was pretty cut and dried, if I remember right.
Okay.
The minor plat was approved February 3rd. For that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Amber may have some more information for you, Brad, like, down in zoning.
So it sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
anyone else out there? Bonnie?
Urban, Brandon, Iowa. I'd like to get back to the meetings that you guys went to last week in Des Moines, is that correct? Was that just a supervisor's, big deal, or was that, no?
No.
If, so that included like other, what departments?
It includes all county affiliates, whether it's the assessors, the auditors, treasurers, conservation, help me here.
Recorder.
Engineers.
Secondary road. Yeah, county engineer.
It's about the first time I've missed it in the past 35 years or so. But we had way too much going on with the paving.
And they all have their affiliates meet, but oftentimes, depending on what the topics are, you'll have, like I mentioned, the supervisors met with human resources. They also met with the assessors. They also met with the auditors. So we had some combined meetings.
They had what they called joint sessions, like,
Okay, got it.
so there was one, was it Wednesday, Thursday afternoon?
It's Wednesday.
No, it was Thursday.
Thursday or Friday.
Thursday afternoon, all the board of supervisors that were there for their affiliate, along with all the auditors, we all met as one group regarding property taxes and budgets.
Oh, okay. So everybody had something like, I think the departments here, like human resources would meet with supervisors and auditors would meet.
Yep,
with
there was one joint
supervisors.
session that was human resources, and actually anyone could go to that, but it was mainly board of supervisors, auditors, and human resources,
And this is supervisors from all over the
state.
yeah. Oh, wow. So as a taxpayer, can I get a general idea of how many supervisors meetings, no matter who the people were with, that each of you went to?
They're what?
How many supervisors meetings that each of you went to? I mean, and I'm assuming you saved the entire meeting, otherwise I don't count it, but, because I know that's been a problem in the past. But it, just like I said, just as a taxpayer, because, this was Wednesday through Friday? Is that what it was?
Tuesday night through Friday morning, Friday.
Okay. How many meetings everybody went to?
Take a little while to put together.
Yeah, we have to,
What they were, you say the whole time.
yeah,
Sure.
I can't give that to you off the top of my head.
Okay.
On Wednesday, when we started with the general session at 9 o'clock, and then obviously a break, and then lunch, and then we went into the afternoon session, and I believe we were done by 4. And then
During that time.
on Thursday, it started at 8:30, and we were done at 4. And then Friday, the auditor session started at 8 with the business meeting, and then we had tabletop exercises regarding elections and met with the Secretary of State's office, and I think I left there around noon on Friday.
It could be 3 full days.
I'd like to help Bonnie and understand this a little bit better.
Yeah,
too.
right.
It's just not, a lot of times when you go down to these meetings, it's just not actually what you attend a meeting there. It's social time later in the evening or something, the board of supervisors from different counties to get together and they talk about things that is going on in their county. And that helps give you ideas, maybe what you can do in your county and make improvements and stuff. So there's a lot of other things that happen down there. And a lot of times these meetings are not just directly related to maybe a county business. I mean, I went to classes down there in civility. I went to classes down there on human trafficking. There's a lot of other things that happen down there that go on down there.
There was,
So,
I had a 45-minute conversation with a Potawatomi board supervisor about VES and small nuclear reactors. I mean, he was opening my eyes about all those other ordinances that we probably want to consider.
and then I always didn't attend maybe the supervisors meetings down there. If the auditors had something going on in their affiliated, I might skip out the supervisor, go over and sit with the auditors, and that happens a lot down there. And the auditors, sometimes they might come to a supervisor meeting. It all depends what the topic is, if you have an interest in it and want to learn more about it. So there's a lot of universal things that happen down there.
There was a,
I can give you my credentials if you want them.
Sure.
Right, so Wednesday, Thursday or Tuesday was really, that was for more than behind the scenes ISAC stuff. So that really wasn't anything that we attended. But Wednesday, there was the registration in the morning, at 8 AM, and then there was, we did our affiliate time, and so from 8:30 to 10, there was ISAC's business meeting, that was on Thursday. On Wednesday, it was like more general sessions with each other, so I went to the personality one with Chris Wednesday afternoon, then we had our opening session on Wednesday. Thursday afternoon, we had the business meeting, we had the supervisors lobbying efforts, 2026, the outlook of that. From 11 to 12:30, there was the lunch and the vendors. At 12:30, there was more affiliate time, so we had ISAC Technology Services, current and future. Property tax overhaul from 1 to 2:30. From 3, there was procurement purchasing, that was a joint session with the auditors, so Chris was there also. And then at 6, there was a conference and wide networking event, conference-wide networking event. It was a baseball game, I chose not to go. And then on Friday, we had our 8 o'clock affiliate time in our meeting rooms. So from 7:30 to 8:30, we had the networking breakfast, and from 8:30 to 9:30, there was an assessors panel. And from 9:30 to 10:30, there was behavioral health transition, which was the East Central region, mental health and disabilities. That is converting, they're going in one direction. They're going to become the area service organization. They're splitting off disabilities, and that's going to be a disabilities access point. So Julie Davison is our current CEO in this area. And they were very informative about how the disability access point is going and the regionalization of that, and how the pieces are starting to fit together and building that system up. Wow, that was a lot. And then from 10:30 to 12 was hot topics. We left a little bit early from the hot topics. I know I did, because it was very repetitive of what Tuesdays with the property tax overhaul was.
Wait,
Do you want more?
well, I'm thinking, that, it's a lot, and it's amazing to me. I'm gonna make a interesting comment here that both women could tell me what they were doing. What were you guys doing?
I've got to put it all together and get it to you. It's
Yeah,
gonna take a bit.
mine just came off the list right here.
Yeah, you really stuck with it.
I will mention that after we had the update on the disability access points and everything, when they finished that one, they did reconvene with the assessors because there were many more questions that had not been answered. So they delayed some of the hot topics until the assessors could come back in and answer some more questions. It was a good, they had 4 or 5 people up there. And it was quite informative to listen to the assessor. As many of you may not know, the assessors are completely independent of the county, although they work for the county. But they have their own levy, they have their own conference board that appoints them and gives them their direction, approves the budget, and then it's presented to the supervisors to approve. So we have very little control over the assessors in the state of Iowa. And it's intended that way, so you don't have people meddling in their job as far as having to assess property, which they take very seriously. And there is a huge shortage of assessors available in the state of Iowa. And if anybody wanted to have a great career, you could practically name your price to become an assessor, because they're that short-handed.
It's such a job.
Food for thought. Yeah.
Nobody likes an assessor.
And I can ttell you that, yeah. I can tell you that John was with me in all of them, except for he went to HR that first day, like the workplace culture and, I'm sorry, the investigative interview process and the conflicts in workplace and beyond. So we chose to go to 2 different sessions so that we could both, if we needed to, compare notes.
And divide.
Concord and divide, that is exactly what we do.
And also the supervisors get a lot of information going around. Vendors have booths set up down there. You can go around and talk to different vendors. And one vendor I talked to years ago down there was a healthcare broker, group partners down there. Got to come up to a meeting, present to us. At the time where our healthcare was, trust was not doing very good. We were in the red. And we were withholding payments to providers and stuff by us switching to that new broker down there. We are now in the black and doing very well in this county.
That's Assured Partners, and they are terrific to work with, and we're up to, what, 2,500,000 balance right now? Yeah.
Just hope.
One of the vendors that Clayton was kind of alluding to was actually using AI to use court cases about property assessments. I thought, my goodness, if there was ever an interesting application of that, I wanted to hear more about it. And he was actually a speaker later. So he talked about data proofing and then identifying errors and omissions within assessing, and kind of talked about the limitations of that and how you go back to the quality assurance. How do you go back and prove that information? Just because AI gives you information doesn't mean that it's necessarily correct. So how do you go back and validate that the information was correct? And so it was really interesting to hear data repairs and things like that. And that applies to not just the assessors, but all of the rest of our data as well. So it was really interesting to hear, what these folks were coming up with, even if it wasn't necessarily something that we would buy into, something our own talent and our personnel to look into themselves. So it's absolutely astounding how much knowledge base actually shows up down there.
They're interesting classes.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you attend. This sounds fascinating to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there seems like there was a lot going on with all those people.
Exactly.
So any other classes that you attended, you could just throw out there just to kind of fill in the blanks?
I would say I didn't go to the disability access point because I wanted to hear the assessor's conversation. So I would look through my notes and see if there was anything else that was of interest. Yeah.
Put a little information on it on the Facebook page. This is interesting.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do. Okay. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
not putting nothing out on Facebook. Sorry. Just not gonna go there.
Anyone else out there? Public comments? Not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. I'll make it. Yeah.
We haven't seen the
All
federal
in favor?
agreements, but they got it set up.
All in favor?
Right.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
There, for the bridge, Laura, we were supposed to have laddering of ramp.